Today we have a new power station from Bluetti. Let's open it up. And double boxed is the way that these should be shipped, for sure. Okay, so this is their AC70 portable power station. This is a brand new unit that's not released yet, and I believe it releases next month in November. And we probably got accessories here. We got our AC power charging cable. We've got our solar panel cable. So this is an MC4 to XT60. Then we got our car charging cable. And there's a little bolt in here. Not sure what that's for. So this has a 1,000-watt pure sine wave inverter, and it has 768 watt-hours of lithium iron phosphate battery. It fully charges in 90 minutes. That's pretty awesome. And it'll do 80% charge in 45 minutes. Oh wow, it's got some great solar specs, guys. It'll do 500 watts max on the solar input. And it'll do 12 to 58 volt on the PV input at 500 watts max. Alright guys, and there's the unit. We've got our DC and PV input here. And again, it says 12 to 58 volts, 500 watts, which is good. I'm glad they let you know the maximum voltage you can use right there on the front. That way there's no confusion. Of course, it's got a DC output, cigarette lighter jack, style jack. It's got 2 AC receptacles, and it says 1,000 watts. We've got one USB-C at 100 watt. We've got 2 USB-A's at 12 watts, and then another USB-C at 100 watts. On the side, we've got some ventilation. On the back, we've got the one carrying handle. It does tell you the battery capacity here on the back. It's 768 watt hours at 32 volts and 24 amp hours. That's pretty neat. Oh, and on the side, okay, that's what that screw is for, because there's a grounding lug right here. And then our AC input for charging from the AC source. So let's go ahead and turn it on. There we go. Wow, a beautiful screen. Very easy to read at every angle. I gotta tell you, I like it when they have a big, easy to read screen. Because some of these, they've got a little tiny screen and you can't see it very well. So it shows our DC input, our DC output, AC input, and AC output. So that's awesome. It shows you 4 different wattage readings. So you don't have just one for everything. Oh, it just turned off on us. Let's see, let's turn the AC output on. Okay, AC output is on now. Let's turn the DC output on. And let's see if, it's a 1,000-watt inverter with a 2,000-watt surge. Can we run this air conditioner? Let's try it. Let's just put it on low. I hear it starting up. Shows that we're pulling 180 watts. Yes, we're pulling 370 watts. Yeah, it's running it just fine. Let's see about turning it up. There we go, we're at medium. Yeah, we're over 500 watts. Let's turn it on high. Okay, so far so good. And the question will be, will it charge and run devices from the AC output? So let's try that. So we got the AC charging plugged in. Yeah, look at that. We're showing 1,120 watts going in, 700 coming out. Ha! It's doing great. All right, so while we're at it, let's check to see if we've got a pure sine wave. And indeed, we do have a pure sine wave. Yeah, this AC is cold today, so let's turn it off. This thing's really quiet. I don't even hear any fans on right now. Yeah, it's super quiet. Oh, so now we're down to charging at 440 watts. So I guess it was at 1120 because it was providing some charging power to the battery, and also the rest of the AC power was going to power the air conditioner. That's pretty neat. So it has like a kind of a pass-through feature. All right, let's try the app. So we can scan this to get the Bluetti app. So I'm downloading it from the App Store. The link that I scanned actually took me to a download to download the app directly, not from the App Store. So we're going to try the one from the App Store first because I trust that better. All right, so we got the app open. Let's see. Let's just skip that. We're not going to log in or register. I hate doing that. Let's do offline mode. All right, now here's the AC70 device. Okay, as soon as we click on that, the screen comes on here. And there we are. We've got the app up. Very nice. It shows we're pulling 439 from our grid. Nothing coming from AC, DC, or PV, obviously. We've got settings. See, auto sleep. Is that the screen? Because, there we go. Because I don't like it when the screen goes off, to be honest with you. I guess you could like set it to like 5 minutes or something, but I kind of like it on. I don't think it's going to use that much power. So we got charging mode. We're on standard. Let's do turbo. Ah, there we go. Hey, hey, hey. Look at that. Now we're charging at 1,000 watts. And it's still quiet. Like, it's not making a lot of noise. And I think this powerlifting mode is like to give the inverter kind of a boost or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. 60 hertz on the AC frequency. Grid self-adaption. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so really neat. Really neat app. Very basic and very useful. Yeah, it's really blasting through charging right now. We're already at 62, 63%. All right, so I'm going to put it back on standard charge mode. Yeah, everything seems to be working like really well. Nothing has been flaky. These guys have worked hard to make this unit work really well so far. Now, we haven't tested everything. All right, guys, let's try some solar now. I've got two 365 watt panels, I think, and those should be under the voltage limit, the 58 voltage limit. So we should be good to go here. Let's just go ahead and plug it in. Ah, comes right on. Very nice. Here we go. We got some DC input. Look at that, 343 watts. Maybe we need to angle these panels up a little bit to see if we can get some more power. Is that all we're going to get? 350? Huh. Yeah, I got them angled up a little bit better. That's a lot closer to the right angle, but let's see. Nah, we're like stuck at about 350 for some reason. This thing is saying that it can do 500 watts. Yeah, so yeah, it's saying 348 watts in the PV side. Wonder if it's because we're already at 80% capacity. Well, let's change this charging mode. Did that make any difference? I don't think it did. No, that didn't make any difference in the solar charging. How do we get the 500 watts? Let's try. I just plugged in a heater here so we can pull a load. Maybe that'll help us along. Okay, so we've got 700 watt load here. We're still not going over 350 watts. So I wonder if this input is just limited to 10 amps. So if we're doing 10 amps on the solar, then that's what all it's going to do. So let's check. This wire is really thin that they gave us for the solar input. It definitely looks like you probably wouldn't want more than 10 amps going through that. Yeah, look at that, 9.24. So maybe that's what it is. This input is just limited to 10 amps. A lot of times on a solar charger, when it says 10 amps, that means the 10 amps that's going to the battery. Not necessarily, and not the solar side, it's the battery side. But this, I think, is the solar side. So you can't exceed 10 amps here. So if we were somehow able to raise the PV voltage closer to 58, then I think we would get closer to 500 watts. But I feel like the thing that's happened here is these panels are probably running closer to 35 volts right now. So if we got 35 volts times 10 amps, we got roughly 350 watts. So yeah, it's not going to be super easy unless Bluetti has some special solar panels. You know, it's going to run closer to that 58 volts. Maybe if they have a panel that's going to MPPT to about 50 volts, then you're going to get the 500 watts. Maybe that's what it is. Because with these panels, these are 36 cell panels, which puts these in the 24 volt range. Now, of course, the voltage is higher than 24 volts. They are going to be probably like an open circuit voltage of 40 to 44 volts. And then when they're loaded to their MPPT range, it's probably going to be somewhere in the 30s. Actually, I can test that. So if I disconnect one of these panels, I can check the voltage. I've got one disconnected. We can look at this. Okay, so we got 265 watts. So let's see what our current is coming in, and I'm going to estimate what the voltage is, and then we'll check it. So we're bringing in 8.55 amps. So there, in my calculations, I think we're running at 32 volts. So let's check that. 32.5, I was right. Yeah, so that's the deal. You have to have panels that are running closer to 50 volts under load to get 500 watts here. Okay, so very interesting results there. So right now what I want to do is I want to walk in front of these panels to create a shading scenario, and I want to see if we recover from that. So here we go. Okay, I shaded one panel, and I'm shading two panels right now. I'm shading one panel, and they are back to full sun now. Yeah, so looks great. I came back and it's already back to 350 watts. Yeah, it recovered perfectly fine, looks like. All right, so the solar works great here. All right, so I've fully charged this thing, and now I want to do a capacity test. And I'm going to do it through this cigarette lighter jack port. And I expect it to have some losses. So it's probably going to have 5, maybe 10% loss, because there's some conversion going on behind there. So we gotta account for that. All right, so let's turn this on. As you can see, we're 100%. Let's turn on our DC side. All right. So we're seeing 13.4 volts on the DC side. I got it set to discharge at 8 amps. So let's go ahead and just start. And we're doing slightly over 100 watts. Alright, well, I'm going to let that run, and we'll come back when it's fully discharged. Alright, so the discharge test is complete, and we've got 681.6 watt hours and 52.321 amp hours out of 768 advertised watt hours. So we lost some efficiency going through this. Like I said, there's Going to be a converter circuitry behind this. So we've got 88.75% of the rated capacity here through this cigarette lighter jack. So we lost roughly about 11.25%, which is kind of what I was expecting. Usually these converters would be about 90-95% efficient. We probably lost a little bit of power with the screen being on, since I set it up in the app for the screen to always stay on. I kind of forgot about that, so that probably burnt a little bit of power. All right, so let's wrap this up with running some loads. Let's try to max out the AC load, and then I've got a laptop we can plug into the USB ports and see how she does. All right, so I got a heater. There we go, AC output on. And let's plug it in. Okay, there we go. We're getting 760 watts, and that's the heater on low. Let's see if we can get it to medium. I think it might go over 1,000 watts. Okay, there's medium. Yeah, we're over 1,000 watts, so we're over the limit. So 1,097 watts, about 1,100 watts. It's running it. It has a fan going on over here. Not loud at all. Very quiet. All right, I'm going to put it back on medium. So it looks like we could run this heater for about an hour on medium. All right, so while we're running that heater, let's try the USB-C 100 watt output. And we'll plug it into my laptop. There we go. And we have to turn the DC output on. All right, there we go. And I believe it's charging. I heard the little charge tone. Yeah, so it says we're at 10% right now. And on the DC output wattage, it says we're doing 45 watts. I love how it has the wattage for the AC output and the wattage for the DC output and the AC input wattage and the DC input wattage. I've never seen a power station do that. Should we turn it on high? That's really going to push it. Oh, what? It's doing almost 1,500 watts. It's not even complaining. Wow, this is a strong unit, guys. All right, let's put it back on low. Wow. Yeah, I didn't hear any kind of complaints or anything. This is my first experience with Bluetti, and it's very positive. If all their stuff is as good as this is, that's a good company, because there's literally nothing here that I could say anything bad about. The only thing I guess I could say is that we weren't able to reach the 500 on solar, because I don't have any way to configure any panels to reach 50 volts or whatever that you would need. And I kind of looked on their website. I don't really think they have much in panels either that would really do that. So you really would have to come up with the very ideal solar panel voltage situation, which would be probably pretty tough to really get that 500 watts. But it was easy for me to get 350 watts, and I think that's really good for a unit this size anyway. 350 watts, you're going to charge this thing up in 2 hours on solar if you got 350 watts. All right, guys, so I think that's going to be the end of the video. Give me your thoughts about this unit, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.